So I've gone and got a platinum on Control, so I feel like giving some good-natured criticism here, because mostly Control is actually really fucking good. It's got a ton to like about it. It's a pretty interesting take on kind of that Zelda, Soul Reaver, Metroid-like. It has a couple of weird issues here and there, but I mostly want to go on about one thing which I found the most irritating about the game, and that's the constant interruptions. You see, Control could probably be a fantastic, near perfect if it was maybe like 10 or 12 hours, but a lot of the game is taken up with this fucking shit, which is my biggest issue with the game. You see, Control has a leveling system, which is bad, and the leveling system is implemented pretty badly. Basically, it's a system where you do random shitty side missions, like kill 10 of this enemy type in this area with this weapon, in order to gain random gear, which you then equipped, and it's completely unnecessary. Like, the weird thing is, something like God of War, which may have annoyed me, at the very least have the common sense to kind of keep that stuff to, not random generation. This system, I'm just collecting missions and cancelling them to try and find the one missions which will give me like a good rank item. And then I'm just going to stick it in the background and hope I accidentally clear it while playing through the game. Because this perk system is completely unnecessary and annoying. What's more irritating is a lot of the hidden areas, side content, that Zelda-esque thing where there's a side puzzle you may not have seen. That stuff, you will sometimes you'll get an ability point, which is what you actually want because it's, something will be good. But a bunch of the time, you'll just get a box and it will drop like 4 random gear items. There's a good chance most of them will be worthless, and that's not what you want. You don't want to like finish off a side quest and go, oh shit, this was pointless because the item I got, like a fucking t-shirt for your character, is better than a useless gear item. And yet the game has this, and it's, like I said, it feels so unneeded. For example, you've got these side missions, I'm just playing one here, where for like 13 minutes, you see down there, some enemies will spawn, you run to the area, kill them, you get a random loot item. It's interesting because near the end of the game, there's a bit in the story where you're kind of in an office and you're just given randomly generated crappy missions like pick stuff up off a desk, get rid of coffee cups, print stuff, and you have to sort of disobey to continue the story. What's weird is you actually do this shit in the main game with these randomly generated, I guess you'd call them Radiant Crests. Is that the Skyrim term? Like I said, completely pointless. Which sucks because there's a load of side content in here, which is great. Like, you've got unique boss encounters, some pretty cool stuff. After I finished what I thought was all the story missions and side missions, I checked my trophies and saw, oh shit, there's actually more. So I went back, found 1 or 2 hidden areas. Both led to great side content with like unique encounter design. One had me using a TV to kind of stop enemies attacking me. You have to like psychically lift up the TV, and as long as enemies are looking at it, they won't go for you. It's creative stuff like that. It's interesting. And Control has a ton of these, but it also has this crappy stuff like Eradicate All the Mold, where you're just running around trying to find like that one thing to shoot. Here's me find this hidden area. Oh, how exciting. It's going to be some shit. I'll probably just junk. And what's annoying with this junk is it begins to fill up your inventory. So you'll be having fun with the game and then suddenly you've got to pause, got to go into my inventory, kill a load of junk items because there's a chance my inventory will be full and I'll miss the one like good gear item which would be useful. My point is there's no need for this. Control is a Zelda-like. Just giving you some tiny health upgrades would be fine. Honestly, don't even bother with a tiny. Give me a fucking t-shirt. A t-shirt would be better. I'm just saying, it's annoying. The same can be said for these things. Like Bioshock, you find all these recordings scattered around which tell the story. Problem is, you have to stand by the recording to listen to it. Bioshock had the good sense to just play the recording as you wandered about, which is how it should be because it lets you kind of absorb the story while you're doing all your exploration. Having to stand by a recording and listen to someone talk is just the most boring, awful way to deliver a story. And it just kind of sucks because I never really got into Control's story, and probably that's part of it. I just couldn't be bothered to sit by tape recorders as they drop exposition on me. Control has other interruption issues. For example, you can only equip two guns at once, which would be fine if this was like an Uncharted and you were grabbing guns off the floor. But instead, you can actually hold up to six at once, but you've got to go to a menu to switch out your two, which is completely pointless. Like, why not just have a weapon wheel? Press square to switch weapons, hold it to open your weapon wheel and switch them out. That would be so much more satisfying. Also, all these letters telling the story are so poorly implemented, so randomly strewn, that I really have no idea how to connect this narrative together, which is already meant to be sort of confusing. Like, give me a flow chart connecting the information or sorting them in a good way, and maybe I can actually try and like piece this confusing mess of a story. What's weird is there are some clever things to try and keep the game constant and fun. For example, just pressing up shows your map. It doesn't bring it up, it doesn't pause the game, it just appears like on the screen as you're still moving. No sound, no interruption, nothing. But once again, it's weird because that's there. They came up with that. It keeps the game nice and smooth. But then you've got to pause the game to switch out your weapons, and you've got to pause the game to junk pointless gear you can't pick up, which you're constantly getting. Most of which will be worthless. Like you see that health boost there. That's probably the last time I got really good gear. Most of the time it's crap you won't want to use. And it does make exploration less satisfying because a lot of the time finding some cool hidden area will just reward you with something. If your reward is I gotta pause the game and junk some items to keep my inventory open. So that's really my issue with Control. It has plenty going for it. It just feels to me like they messed up with overall structure, because the game is full of clever ideas. Combat's pretty interesting. You got these neat superpowers like possessing enemies when they get low on health, psychically picking shit up, throwing it. And I'm not strictly against the character getting more powerful. It's just Control emphasizes both the cool bits of getting more powerful, e.g., like learning to fly and shit and seeing old areas in completely new ways, and the lame shit, which is enemies which look identical, just having a number overhead telling you they're stronger now, which feels just pointless and boring. It actually makes the power creep feel less impactful, because rather than feeling like you're now capable of taking on stronger enemies, you just feel, oh, this is a level 7 area, I should wait till I'm level 7 to enter it. So that's Control. Narrative is hurt by having to constantly pause to like read documents, which are often boring a lot of the time because they do the whole lore dump thing, very cyberpunk, e.g. you can't tell what documents actually have interesting story details and what are just like there to fill in unnecessary details, which isn't bad if you can sort them well, but it doesn't. Really fun combat. Shame I have to constantly pause to junk items. I'd probably enjoy the story more if I could just listen to the audio recordings as I ran about, like searching for shit. Like when you've got side quests like find several pus bubbles in a room, I might as well be listening to something while I'm doing it. In the end, I'd definitely recommend this because there's a bazillion other games like this which have the same problems, which are a lot worse. Control is just a shame because it doesn't need to have this stuff. It would be so much better without it. Yeah, it would be shorter, but it's already got more than enough content to be big. Oh, one more complaint. For some reason, like Sony does this annoying thing where they like to look for exclusive content to put in their versions of games. By that I mean the versions on their systems. So Control has a weird thing where on the PlayStation 4, exclusive Sony character Hideo Kojima as like a is in it for like half an hour long extra mission, not in the other versions, including the PlayStation 5 version, which is really silly. Like Sony, I like when you emphasize dual sense extras because the dual sense is really cool and I like it a lot. But can you stop with like the exclusive half an hour side story shit? Because that's just obnoxious for everyone, seriously. Okay, that's it, bye. Yeah, Control, easy to recommend. Has some stuff I find really annoying though.